What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals. Thank you, Movie Meal patrons. Kimberly Cameron, we're going to get that off the bat right away. Go subscribe to the patronage. And go get some merch. You can also help us get to 2,000. We're really close to 2,000 subs. We just want to get there. We're going to pick a fan who's been commenting, liking, and subscribing. There's been a handful of you. We see you. We appreciate you. And sharing around. Keep doing that. We're going to give you a free hoodie. I would show off the hoodie, but it is currently being worn and outside the house by it now by the old girlfriend. So we don't have access to it, but we were going to give a free one away to a fan. So yeah, we're finally here. I did a quick reaction video that I've noticed has gotten some good buzz. It was very fast without Kyle holding the fort down for me. I can't control the rambling. It gets wild. I was rattling like crazy. I'm sure I'll repeat some of my thoughts in here, but it'll be fun to discuss with Kyle. He was on vacation. Kyle, how was your vacation? You went to Hawaii?
Radical. Yep, radical. But it was gorgeous over there. It was a lot of fun, but glad to be back here. I'm sorry that I missed the Oscars. I did not realize I was going to until it was too late.
Ridiculous. How dare you plan a vacation?
Yeah.
I won't be here next weekend, so there probably won't be a podcast next weekend either. So that'll
okay.
That'll do. I'll
Fair
be in
exchange.
Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. That's coming up. Nice.
Yep. But let's get into it here. I've got the Oscars pulled up. I have them pulled up via CBS because I just liked the order they do it. I'm just going top to bottom here. So I'm going to start I'm going to go bottom to top, I guess. I'm going to start at the bottom here with makeup and hairstyling. So the nominees for that are Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Society of Snow. Real quick, actually, before we get into it, disclaimer, if you watched my previous rattle, I was like, when we filmed the podcast, I will have seen Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall and Society of Snow. I've only seen one of the three. My goal was to do all three, and then I remembered I will be on a plane a lot next weekend, and I was like, those are perfect times to sit down and watch Anatomy of a Fall and Society of Snow, so I'm going to use that opportunity to watch those movies. I did see Zone of Interest, so I can have fully formed more opinions on some things, but anyway, makeup and hairstyling, all these make sense. I think this is probably going to go to Poor Things. I don't know what Golda is. I'm very curious. I've never even heard of it. I'm sure, Kyle, you have. You always seem to know the things.
This one I might not. I don't recognize this one.
Oh, interesting. It's a
you might got me on this.
Thriller. Okay. Well, Kyle, you got any quick thoughts? And we will do a formal predictions close to the Oscars, but right now,
Let's do that.
My guess is right now I'd say Poor Things, but my mind might change for any of these. But go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, out of these five, well, I guess four, since I've seen four of these five, I would think that Poor Things and Society of the Snow are the big contenders here. I think those are the ones that are going to be pushing for this award. I thought Poor Things does do great stuff, especially for Emma Stone. Society of the Snow, they do a really great job through makeup of making you feel like you're a part of the elements, making you feel the survivors, feeling the negative degree weather that's going on the mountain they're trapped on, as well as just them feeling the elements and just seeing the results of it happening from their face down to their fingertips. And that movie, if people haven't checked out yet, on Netflix, is terrific. So for me, those, when it comes to this category, those are the standout of it. But otherwise, I don't really have much to say for the other three. I guess for Maestro, it makes sense because the transformation going on for Bradley Cooper as Leonard Bernstein from his younger years to his old age makeup. So I suppose that's probably the reason why this is on here.
Yeah, the makeup's done very well. I think the makeup and hairstyling in Maestro. Production design next. We've got Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I go Barbie here at this moment. I think Barbie's production and set is the best of all of these. But they're all, I think, contenders. I wouldn't roll over shocked, even if a Napoleon kind of snuck in there. Napoleon's got some great sets. Poor Things obviously has some phenomenal sets. That's where probably most people are going to lead. But I lean towards Barbie, hoping Barbie will get at least one win. And my guess is it'll probably end up being here. Don't.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you
go
go.
ahead. No, you go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when it comes to Barbie, I think the big takeaway, or one of the big takeaways from that movie, is that everyone loves Barbie World, and everyone's just okay when they go into the real world. You know, like when they go into the real world, they really want the audiences really want to come back to Barbie World because the practical sets and the colors and the design within the set is just that impactful. It just helps bring like this fake Barbie world come to life in a sense, unlike what they could have done with CGI, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it is deserving of this category because it does play like a big role in making that movie memorable. I'm with you also when it comes to Poor Things. I think the set design, the production design on that, it's also some incredible work. I remember seeing the director and Emma Stone have an interview where they talk about the set and how it feels like it's this um, not labyrinth necessarily, but just like this maze of like the different businesses and houses of like that small town that they're in the middle of the movie, for example, and just how elaborate the thought process was going into it. So I just thought it was some impressive work there. I guess like
Oh, for sure.
those two movies are probably my top contenders as of now. Though we're not doing
Oppenheimer
predictions.
too, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're
We're
all
not doing
again.
predictions. We're just saying who we think might be the front runner. Our opinions will
Sure.
probably change. We got to see. There's still some more awards too that come out between now and the Oscars that people will be winning and losing. So
Yeah, definitely. So I guess just with those two movies, like they play a big part in making those movies stand out as much as they do. And I don't think Napoleon is a strong movie, but I am happy it is being received this nomination just because that was probably one of my big takeaways. I thought Ridley Scott, through his direction, just really did a great job when it comes to like the um, inside locations of like I don't know, the castles that they're in, or even like the outside war sets. I thought were pretty impressive too. So nice to see that movie also get a nomination of some kind. Though I wasn't really expecting Napoleon to get very many to begin with.
I wish Godzilla minus one would have gotten something in here too. They've got a phenomenal production.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on. Sound. We've got the creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part One, Oppenheimer, and the Zone of Interest. I think the sound. It's still stupid that sound mixing and sound editing have been combined just for sound. They're extremely different. If you don't believe that, you don't understand how movies are made. So it's always going to annoy me. The sound, and maybe it's recency bias, but the sound design in Zone of Interest is incredible. I loved it. It was haunting. It was breathtaking. Same with honestly their editing. So I might lean towards that, but so was Oppenheimer. I have a feeling Oppenheimer will probably end up winning this award at this moment, but I would say those two are the biggest competitors. It's nice to see the creator getting a little bit of love here, and we'll talk about it again later, but it's a little underrated, nice sci-fi movie.
For me, haven't seen Zone of Interest out of the unlike the rest of this category, so I can't really speak on Zone of Interest. Hopefully I can get around to it soon, but you know, I'm in Montana. I have no idea if this movie is going to be coming here anytime soon. So with that being said, I guess for me, maybe something like Mission Impossible or Oppenheimer would be what I think the Academy would lean towards. Although Maestro, I guess, with its music elements and the way that it's like an important part of the movie, maybe that could play a role in it getting the nomination. I do think that it does do well when it comes to like the big orchestra set pieces, but otherwise, I guess
Oh,
for
for
me,
sure.
I just didn't notice how good like the sound mixing and editing was throughout the rest of the movie. So I don't know if that's like strong all the way through because of that. For me, for like the usage of sound all the way through, I would lean more towards like an Oppenheimer or Mission Impossible myself.
I don't even think this is really a contest between anything other than Oppenheimer and Zone of Interest. To be straight, I don't think the
Okay.
other three are close, and they all have great sound designs, but that's not very close.
Okay. I'm happy to
We
hear
can
that
fly again
about
if you need.
Zone of Interest because I just didn't know like I guess I just didn't get a sense of why that movie got put into best sound, but you gave me
Got to
a
see
good
it.
true. Yeah, that's
That's
part
how
of
they get
it,
you,
but
Kyle. That's
yeah.
how they get you. Got to
I
buy
like hearing
tickets.
it from you though on how good it was in there. So
That's what
yeah,
I'm here
makes me
for.
look forward to it.
Um, Film editing: Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Anatomy of the Fall is the only one I haven't seen, so I can't really speak on it. I do think this will probably go to, I would say right now I'm leaning towards Oppenheimer or Poor Things.
Mm.
Um, but the longer the movie, the less editing there really is. So sometimes you wonder how the editors and how the Academy will vote on that. But
Okay.
well, because you got longer shots necessarily, or I guess it depends on your movie. If you have longer takes and longer shots that don't switch cameras, you might have less. I guess arguably you could have more. So I guess I take all that back. I talked myself out of it. So, but I still lean Oppenheimer. I think Oppenheimer is going to really do gangbusters. So I would lean towards Oppenheimer myself.
I think, though it's unsurprising from Christopher Nolan that he plays a lot with like time as a use of telling his stories. I think Oppenheimer is just one of his better usages of doing that, and I think throughout the editing it shows because it really helps make the this story as strong as it became for a lot of people. I think that also showed within its box office as well, which I don't know if that necessarily is going to play a role in like which movie wins, but at the same time, I think even for the casual audiences who come away thinking that movie is as incredible as they think it is, I think the editing part of it is the reason why, because there is just a lot of juggling of characters, a lot of bouncing back and forth between like the timeline of this person's life is taking place, and it is impressive stuff because it doesn't leave you like necessarily staggering throughout the whole movie. Like you get a little bit confused in the beginning, but it really fleshes out in an impressive way towards the tail end, in my opinion. So I would think that would be impressive for a lot of the other voters, and they would lean towards this movie. But at the same time, I am eyeing Anatomy of a Fall, and while it's not like editing that you're really noticing in the same way as like Oppenheimer, I think it does do a really great job at working you through the emotions that the main character is also working through when it comes to like the trial that she has to be a part of. Like the dramatic elements really hit hard with some great editing within this movie. But those are just the two standouts for me. But otherwise, I like seeing the rest of these movies on here, like Holdovers and Killers and Poor Things too. But that's just where my mind is right now in terms of the outlook of this category.
Next on this list is documentary short film. I haven't seen any of them. I will try to. So I don't know, Kyle. Have you?
No,
should we just move
haven't
on
been
here?
able to.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're all wonderful, deserving to be here. Same with live action short film. Haven't seen any of them, so I think we'll go ahead and skip that one.
If anyone in the comments has,
film.
by the way, let us know about some of them. Give us some recommendations.
Yeah, no, I always try to. Usually movie theaters will put out a lot of the animated and live action shorts, and it's like you can pay for a ticket for sitting there for an hour and 20 minutes, get some popcorn, and just enjoy them. And I try to do that. I'm going to try again this year. I just haven't gotten a chance to see them. All right, costume design. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. All of these, up until you say the word Poor Things, are great. Glad they're here. It's not going to go to anything other than Poor Things. And if you think anything different now or later, you're ridiculous. It's going to be Poor Things. All the other costumes are wonderful, but it's the only thing I think that is kind of close is Killers of the Flower Moon, and I still do not think it'll win. The costumes are so important to the story of Poor Things, and that's going to stick out for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. Napoleon, I'm seeing here on top of like its set designs and production, I thought its costumes were also really great.
Absolutely.
Same with Barbie. Barbie makes you feel like it's a part of the Barbie world, as I was saying before. But you're right, Alex. I think it's Poor Things or bust.
It's not close.
Yeah,
it's not close to me. Cinematography. This is always one of my favorites.
This one's always wild.
I think is how you say it. Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. El Conde I had not heard of. So these type of movies usually always kind of jump to the top of my list. Although the last one we talked about that I had not seen, that I was like, I didn't hear about this. I actually had heard about it. It was a Helen Mirren movie. I know I've seen some trailers for it, but I'm going to tell you right now, I just looked up this El Conde. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. It's just kind of playing the trailer, and I can tell why it got nominated for cinematography. Some of these shots in black and white look pretty nice. I am surprised Zone of Interest is not on here. The cinematography in that was excellent. I loved the way they made a lot of their shots. It was haunting and beautiful, so I'm a little surprised at this. But it's easier for Netflix to get movies to get nominated when you don't have to send a screener. You just say, hey, log into your account and do this. Watch my movie.
Yeah, that's definitely
the
case.
We'll give you a free Netflix subscription to watch this movie. But, well, I don't know. I think this could go anywhere. My guess is it will go to Oppenheimer. I know Poor Things looks beautiful, too, and has some really breathtaking shots. But I still think Oppenheimer from start to finish is just it's gonna do gangbusters, I think.
For Oppenheimer,
Thoughts?
yeah. Poor Things could make a case because there are some great shots within there. Shots. Well, sorry, say that again.
No, I agree with you. I think it's got a shot. It's just
okay.
Killers of the Flower Moon too, but I don't know. I feel like Oppenheimer's leading this one out of the charge. I don't think Maestro or El Conde, even though I haven't seen it, are close. But
I mean, maybe El Conde could be the surprise. Just I don't know, based on what you're saying, that it just already looks like an amazing movie, even like based on a trailer.
Just a couple shots, I could see it. Yeah, I can see why it's picked.
Poor Things, I just wonder if they're gonna take into consideration if, like, despite like there being practical sets, if like the backgrounds that are more CGI, I think they might be blue screen. I'm trying to remember now. If like those will play a role in people or in voters being like, we won't vote for it because like it's not real settings that like you're shooting on necessarily. But I might be looking too deep into it at that point. But I would just go with Oppenheimer as of now, I guess, with you. But I don't know. Maybe that El Conde movie will surprise.
You got to remember, too, it's about how you set up the shot. It's about how you design it. How are you lighting it? What was your choice and decision? You know, we've talked about endlessly how a lot of people don't understand how to use shadows correctly. And then you look at a movie like The Lighthouse or The Batman that have excellent use of shadows. And it's a lot of that. And I remember those moments in Oppenheimer. The way the lighting is used when it's, him, I guess minor spoilers, but when it's him talking right after the bomb detonates to all the people in that little auditorium, and the way it'll cut back and forth and the way the lighting has changed and everything. And that sticks out in my mind more than Poor Things, where Poor Things at times was like, look at our massive, amazing sweeping shot. But the other shots I don't know if are as phenomenal. Those are great. And obviously it had great cinematography throughout the movie. But when I think of Oppenheimer, I think of how meticulous every single shot truly really felt. I can remember a lot of them. I don't remember it as much in Poor Things. I remember the performances more, I guess. I don't know. It's hard. Oppenheimer is just such a complete package of a movie.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
what do you think about a movie like Past Lives? For me, I thought its cinematography was pretty impressive. I thought it could have made a case
everywhere.
Well, true, everywhere.
You don't have Past Lives in any of this. You didn't watch it. I don't understand how people are not swooning over this. Movie would have dominated any other year, probably.
Yeah. We'll get into some of like the misses with that movie, that's for sure. But I was really hoping this could have been like a little engine that could situation, and that it just keeps building like steam. But man, did that one get tossed to the side, which is very unfortunate. I wonder if we'll look back on that in a few years and be like, yep, still a mistake.
I mean, was it? I can't remember. It was your top of? No, it wasn't. We had different tops of the year, right? You had Oppenheimer. Yeah, it was my favorite of the year. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, but mine still was number 2. Man, that movie's great.
Documentary, feature film. I haven't seen any of them. We're gonna probably skip this one. I need a chance to see it. Sometimes Kyle hears about something, so before he interrupts me, let me throw it to him like I was planning on. Kyle, which one have you heard of? Because every year you do this, you didn't give me 2 seconds to just let you have it in a kind and gentle manner. You had to point it out to me. I was literally about to throw it to you. What are you doing to me here, pal?
You're right. I should trust you more.
Every year, he's like, oh, I've heard very great things. And he names 1 or 2 of the full-length documentaries. It's never the shorts. It's always the full-length documentaries. And that's how I know which one to watch. I'm always looking forward to it. So we're gonna reel that back. I haven't seen any of these documentaries, fans of movie meals, but we know that Kyle has heard of at least one, and he has heard good, maybe average things about it. So, Kyle, which one have you heard of?
I'm so sorry after your terrific rant, but this year is not that case. I have not heard of any of these documentaries.
What? Then why were
but
you going to butt in?
I was going to ask you a question about another documentary that didn't make the cut, but I do want to mention that within this this category, I believe that the majority of these documentaries are foreign documentaries. So I think like it's pretty cool to see that
like
happening, where we
happens a
see
lot.
more American-based documentaries. At least to me,
Really?
they usually they seem more
I feel like they're always
American-based.
pretty diverse. But
Yeah, I mean,
what
maybe
was
like
your question?
half and half. But the Michael J. Fox documentary, I was thinking that would get in here. Are you surprised? Not surprised?
I mean, I'm not saying it's a snub. It's a wonderful documentary. It's beautiful.
Sure.
If you haven't seen it, go see it. But it is not. It does not pull the strings the way. What was the name of the Mr. Rogers documentary? Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, or was that the movie?
I think that was the.
I just can't remember what they used for the. You were never really here?
No, that's the Joaquin Phoenix movie.
That we just watched the other day.
Yeah.
I
don't remember the name of it now.
It doesn't pull the strings in the same way that does. If you're a huge Back to the Future fan or just a fan of Michael J. Fox, you grew up in that era, I highly recommend it. It made me want to sit down and rewatch all 3 Back to the Futures. I used to watch his show back in the day when I was younger, so I'm not shocked. I would need to see these. These are probably a little bit more hard-hitting, serious topics, but yeah, nothing really here. But I do try to see at least a couple of the documentaries. I usually can't make it to all 5, but I try to see some of them. All right, let's continue here. Original song. It Never Went Away from American Symphony.
I've heard of that one.
From Barbie. Have you really?
I've heard of that movie because I believe that's on Netflix now.
Oh, I had not. I don't go on Netflix as often anymore because their content is just not nearly as good as Apple or what do you call it? Max. How do you spell symphony? All right, let's go. I'm Just Ken from Barbie. We have What Was I Made For from Barbie. And then we've got The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot. And I'm not even going to attempt it. I don't want to butcher it. It's a Song for My People is the translation from Killers of the Flower Moon, which is a beautiful song. I'm going to throw this to Kyle. He is the music expert first. So Kyle, what are your thoughts here?
Man, I think within this category, it could go to Billie Eilish again.
Yeah, no, it is.
Second year in a row, right?
What? Yeah, no, and of course they want Billie Eilish up there singing and getting the money, and she's too popular not to. And it's a beautiful song. Yeah, no, this is the front runner.
It is a really great song from her. I'm Just Ken. I don't think that one's a surprise to anyone. I think it's a really fun song. Had a big
it's gonna be so
pop
fun
culture impact.
It.
Do you think he will? Do you think it will be him?
I hope he does. Well, they're gonna ask him. It's gonna be up to him. And if he said, and I mean, he's been performing it live already. They've performed it live with some different versions. I also wouldn't be surprised if like Jimmy Kimmel like gets people and it's a bit and they like recreate it or something. And he's like, I'm just the host, and they do exactly what he did on SNL. I won't be shocked if we see something like that, but I hope he performs it. But,
I do want to mention this Flamin' Hot movie. This was never a theatrical release. There is no way this movie was a theatrical release. Maybe at one theater in like LA just to make this cut, but I think that's bullcrap. You know how I feel about these. You know how I feel about these streaming movies. Great. Glad she's getting a nomination. I hope people check out that movie. It just frustrates me that this clearly streaming movie that I think barely qualified for theatrical release is getting a nomination.
But I think that's a rule. Get that.
What was that?
Well, they only have to release in 2 theaters in New York and 2 in LA.
I just hate
be
that
eligible.
Rule. That rule needs to change.
I think they should make it wide release, but studios
even still, like I mean. It maybe they qualified because they had the premiere in a theater in New York, But even after that,
would you move in this place?
I don't know, off the top of my head, like any Spider-Verse song. You want
Big
that?
facts.
You
Big
want that? Do you
facts.
want that Mario song in this category? I mean, I don't think it's that great, but knock yourself out. Get Jack
Peaches,
Black in
peaches,
there.
peaches, 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 peaches. It should
It's
peaches should
just
have
it's
absolutely been in here. What are we doing? What are we
it's
doing?
nothing on this song. It's just part of a frustration of mine when it comes to these streaming movies that barely get that qualification in, just so that way they can have these awards. Like, I don't care if you have like a limited release of like, what is it, like 1,000 or something like that locations, but like just change that rule so that way it's actually like a legitimate theatrical release, or
Mm-hmm.
don't nominate for these streaming movies.
Spider-Verse should have come out earlier or later in the year. It came out too early. And over the last few months, I've heard so much discussion about how, man, Into the Spider-Verse just wasn't as good as, or Across the Spider-Verse wasn't as good as Into the Spider-Verse. So it's just not as good. And it's like they're both bangers. Like they're both phenomenal. You
Yeah.
can sit here and debate all day which is better, but at the end of the day, you've got two phenomenal bow tie 10 out of 10 movies. Are you bummed that it was a part one and you didn't know, even though they announced it and then it got pushed because of a pandemic? It's not our fault your brain stinks. Like, just remember that. I remembered it and my brain's the worst out there. But I would love A Song for My People is beautiful and it's beautifully used in the movie.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would love for this to sneak a win, but it'll probably be
Mhm.
What Was I Made For. But I am excited. I don't usually get excited for the performances of the songs because I think it's just a waste. Like everybody complains your show's too long, but you drag out these songs and you then nominate three that nobody's ever heard. And but I'm just, Ken will make it worth it. I am excited for A Song for My People. And I mean, it's always nice seeing Billie Eilish perform anything. But all right, let's move on here.
Yeah, let's
Original
do it.
score: American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. People are roasting the Academy for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny,
Yes.
and I get some of it, but
No.
calm down. It's a legendary
Williams.
score. Like, he's not gonna win it probably, but come on.
No, but he doesn't need to be in here either.
I mean, sure, yeah, we can complain about the Meryl Streep effect. She didn't need to be in for a bad movie like Wicked, but she got in anyway. But
Look,
it's
I'll tell you this. What about Spider-Verse? Like the
Oh,
Spider-Verse score.
I would do that. I would have
Yeah.
voted for that, but I just don't see the reason to complain for this specific one myself.
Because it's an okay score here. Like, I don't think.
Well, it's a very good score, I think, but it's his original score. Where you're renominating basically the indie theme and a lot of that, but
so we don't need to do that then.
I agree. There's nothing you can say that I will. Like, I'm not arguing necessarily with your points. I'm just saying I think people are groaning. Stop groaning. There are other things that did not get nominated that really need to. Oppenheimer's going to win this. Zone of Interest maybe should have gotten in here. So or Killers of the Flower Moon had a phenomenal score. So I just don't know why we're. Yeah, I liked the score in American Fiction. It's not one that necessarily stuck out to me, but I did really like it. I mean, I honestly might remove it before I remove Indiana Jones myself. But
disagree. But
there is something for legacy. You know, if you have been the GOAT in your field, you're going to get a little bit extra help. And that's just how it has always gone. It's like that in sports. It's like that in any industry. So you got to give it to John. They're just happy that he's, they want him there. And he's alive and kicking. He's like 91 years old. He's still making scores. He's making banger scores, and I'm here
not retiring.
He's
yet.
a legend. And I keep saying it, and then Steven's like, "We're going out together, pal." But you got any other thoughts, or should we move on?
Yeah, Spider-Verse should have gotten a nomination here. Let's keep going.
Visual effects. The Creator, Godzilla -1. Thank God. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Part 1, and Napoleon. All these make sense. Glad to see The Creator getting in here. Very happy Godzilla -1's in here. The Guardians of the Galaxy is going to win.
You think Guardians will win?
Yeah.
You don't think Godzilla's going to pull the upset?
No.
I kind of think it's possible.
Sure. I just don't see it happening.
Wow. Okay. I really...
Is it cold?
I think there was many people like ourselves who are happy to see Godzilla get into this category. I think it is deserving, and like I said, I do think it has an actual shot of getting the award. I'm I'm kind of feeling like this category is refreshing. Like normally we see, I guess more so of like the superhero blockbusters, and this year, like
Well, that
it's just
makes
showing a
sense.
switch of the tides. Yeah, but
Well,
it's just
I
nice seeing a
think.
bit of a shakeup here.
Well, I
I
think
think
you're
it's
looking. The visual effects artists are the ones of the members of the Academy for visual effects vote for these nominees.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
not. They'll vote for everything else, but they probably were sitting back and going, "Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was terrible. I know. I worked on it." Like they're like, "This is this." They were
Yeah.
paying a crap, and the only one that looked great was Guardians Volume 3. It
Mhm.
looks phenomenal. I mean, I would love Godzilla to take it. I would be so happy. I just don't know if it will. I would love it. The creator looked breathtaking, so I think that's a great pick in here too. Mission Impossible looks great as always, but it's also hard to give it visual effects when you know Tom's out there doing it all. So, and
Sure.
again,
Yeah.
you can scream all you want. No Oppenheimer, no Oppenheimer. You can't freak out and talk about how great it was back in May of 2023 that they recreated the bomb and there were no visual effects and everything was practical. You all were pumping that up, and you were so excited. All the people, all the bros, they were all excited for that. And then as soon as it didn't get in visual effects, they're all losing their minds. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. And it has it whether I don't know. I've heard people say it does have visual effects in Oppenheimer. I've heard people say it doesn't have any. It probably has a few touch ups.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, I still think Guardians will end up taking this.
Okay. I wish John Wick 4 could have made it. I'm not sure if it was really in the running when it comes to this category. I don't know what any of the pundits were thinking, but
John
I
Wick.
think John Wick 4 could have made a really strong case because there are visual effects being put into some of those stunts, and I think it works seamlessly in them. Kind of in the
I
same
didn't
vein as like
know.
Mission Impossible does. So
I didn't know documentaries could get visual effects.
we're on visual effect. John Wick 4? What?
Yeah, the documentary John Wick 4, part of a trilogy of documentaries, a quadrilogy, if you will, of that
What?
guy. Isn't that a real
Oh,
story?
I don't think so. It's
you
not
were
Keanu
ahead of
Reeves'
Kyle
life
on the
story.
If you were ahead of Kyle on the bit, pat yourself on the back. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
I was just making a joke. I was
I
making a
have
little
no
joke.
idea. It went over my head completely. I'm like, what are you
I see
talking?
that. I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Original screenplay: Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. I've not seen Anatomy of a Fall. I do think this should go to Past Lives. I'll see if that changes. I would be okay if it went to The Holdovers. Yeah, no, that's yeah. Anatomy of Fall, I hope contends. I don't truly believe May December and Maestro is a contender. It's interesting to see the perception May December got by like the people in the movie sphere, and then just got nothing at the Oscars, which is just interesting. And I agreed with, especially with I know Charles we'll talk about later as a snub, but it's just very interesting. But I would give this to Past Lives. The script is phenomenal. Barbie should be in this category, but whatever.
Yeah, when it comes to May December, it's clearly a case of people in the industry being wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But there are times where you see a divide between like critics and those who work in the industry for whatever reason. Like I think May December is just a good example of that. That sometimes comes up. Not everyone is always in sync with like every movie that people like or dislike. But I do think that script is strong. I'm happy that it got that nomination at the very least. But I think in general, this category is like one of the stronger ones of this year.
Yeah, I would agree.
For me, I'm zeroing in on Anatomy of a Fall and Past Lives. In my head, that's the tight race. I think they're both phenomenal. I'm not sure who I would give it to right now, to be honest, but check out those movies if you haven't. But yeah, Holdovers, nice to see that nomination too. Movies to delight.
Oh, it got quite a few nominations. It's phenomenal. Adapted screenplay, American Fiction, Barbie, even though Barbie should have been an original. I get it. There have been other Barbie movies. Calm down. Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. I think this will go to Oppenheimer or Barbie, but this is also another incredibly tough category. I think after seeing Zone of Interest, I think it could win. It's a phenomenal script, but I do think what'll keep Zone of Interest out is, as strong as its script is, it is the way they design the shots, and it's the sound and the performances, I think, more than the overall screenplay that elevate it myself. But
Okay.
this is going to be tough. American Fiction has a great script. It's hilarious. It's so good. I also could see them voting for Greta after the snub. All the backlash, people are ticked off she didn't get a Best Director nod, which we'll get to. But I could see her winning this as well. I think it'll probably be between Barbie and Oppenheimer, a Barbenheimer again, if you will.
Yeah, I would say that this is Oppenheimer's award as of now. I did finally get around to seeing American Fiction just a few days ago. I did enjoy it. And I do see why
Very
it got
good.
its acclaim for its screenplay. I thought it did a really great job at having a mashup of like the feelings that still leave you like impactful when it comes to like the social elements it's talking about, but also the personal elements of our characters in that story. Just really great craftsmanship when it comes to like the writing on there. So there's my mini review. Barbie, I've been hearing that people, when it was like flip-flopping between will it be adapted, will it be original, that people were thinking that Barbie would have more of a shot in original than adapted. But to be honest, when I'm seeing all of these nominees, I think it's like not impossible for it to win either way, but I just think there's just such strong contenders that I wouldn't say like putting it in one spot over the other would like give it more of an advantage. So I think it kind of is going to have a somewhat difficult time trying to get that win in either category, though I am happy just to see it get nominated in general. Zone of Interest, again, I haven't seen. Poor Things, I would say is a stronger script, at least for me. I think about that one more than Barbie's, although I do really like Barbie still. But I'm with Alex on this one that it probably could be Oppenheimer's.
I walked out of the theater when we saw Barbie, and the first thing I said when someone asked me, "Did you like it?" I said, "That script was maybe one of the best scripts I've ever seen."
It is
It is
impressive
so
what
well
they
done.
did.
And I don't think people fully grasp how good Barbie is. It's not just that it made you feel a certain way and it hit you in the feels when you thought you were only getting yucks. It's how they do it, how Greta and Noah crafted it. And it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to get
Yeah,
going
I'm with
there.
you. Let's do it.
Animated feature film: The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Love seeing Nimona get in here. I know you talked about that too, that you were hoping it might get some love in this category. It's great. It was interesting seeing Elemental. I think Elemental is very charming. It's not the best. I had not seen Robot Dreams. Love The Boy and the Heron. Love Spider-Verse. I want this to go to The Boy and the Heron. I think a lot of Academy members will give it to The Boy and the Heron because Across Spider-Verse, the Spider-Man, this universe has already won a Best Animated Oscar, and I think they want to give something to Miyazaki for a legacy kind of thing. So I think it will go, and I think it's deserving. I think if you sit back and go Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse, no way, like it has to be that one only. I think you're underselling how great The Boy and the Heron really is. I wish Suzume would have gotten in here.
That's the one
but
I was thinking
unfortunately
of.
it did not. But
Yeah.
I'm not super shocked it didn't. So
Okay. I'll be in agreement with you when it comes to The Boy and the Heron. I know I didn't like it as much as I wish I would have. Although I still think the animation clearly is like amazing and worthy of a nomination, let alone a win.
Hand drawn's always going to be better than 3D.
Yeah. So I can see it being a race between Boy and Heron and Spider-Verse right now, and I think it would make sense to give this win to Miyazaki for the work being warranted of a win, but also for that legacy aspect of it too. Nimona, like I'm conflicted on this. I do have a soft spot for that movie. I really enjoyed it, but it goes into that streaming argument that I was mentioning before. Like I don't see that it would have had a theatrical release of any kind, especially from Netflix, although they probably did that 1-2 screen thing. My thing is like that's barely anything of note. You know, everyone knows that it came on Netflix. It should have been a theatrical release, even like a smaller, even a bigger one that's more than 2.
If you live in LA or New York, you let us know. Was it everywhere? Did you know it was in theaters there?
Yeah, please. I would
let us know.
I would have been delighted to know. Elemental, good for them. You know, people kept saying that was a box office bomb.
Not dead yet.
Yeah, Pixar's dead. It's a box office bomb, and yet somehow it still grosses to a reasonable amount of money, and people think that animation is very good in that movie. So good for it.
It
Robot
is.
Dreams.
You don't think the animation was good?
I haven't seen that movie yet. Did I
Oh,
misspeak there? I didn't mean to say that the
I just
animation was bad.
misunderstood.
Oh,
I
okay.
just
Okay.
misunderstood. I thought you were being like people think it's good, and I was like, oh,
Oh, that's not what
I
I
think the
implied. I just
animation's
meant
very
that.
good.
Yeah, yeah. Robot Dreams. Don't know about it. Maybe I'll check it out if it comes across my way. Ninja Turtles also, I think, could have had a strong
Should
argument
have
for
been in
getting a
here.
nomination.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it would have had a
Should
win,
have been in
but
here.
that's also one that I wish we could have seen, but you know, didn't happen.
Robot Dreams. Oh, this looks adorable. I want to check this out. All right, let's move on.
Let's do it.
International feature film. Uh, I don't know how to say this.
Io
Oi
Capitano.
Capitano. Io Capitano. Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. And I know people were upset. There's some movie that I think is a French movie that is really popular that I can't remember. And I know I heard the movie, but
Is
I'm
it The
drawing a
Taste
blank
of
today. But
Things?
I know that doesn't sound right. But I know
Because
there was
there's
one movie that didn't submit that people were like, why is this not in some of these categories? But they didn't. I think it was France didn't submit it for the Oscars.
I
But
know there's Anatomy of a Fall.
they didn't
Wait.
submit for international feature. They
I
just
just,
submitted
I
for
mean,
best picture.
I don't know if they did or didn't. I just know that's one of them. I thought that The Taste of Things was also a French film. Forgive me if I'm.
You might be right, and I just am misremembering, but I know I heard something like that. Anyway, Zone of Interest and Society of Snow are probably, my guess, is the contenders here. I've only seen Zone of Interest, so I'm going to give that the win at the moment. I'll get back to you when I've watched Society of the Snow. Finish it. I technically got 30 minutes in. I just hadn't sat down to finish it.
Mhm.
I need to. I want to. But thoughts?
So Society of the Snow and the Zone of Interest, I think those are leading the way for the voters. So Society of the Snow, I think is terrific. And I haven't seen the Zone of Interest, but that's just the one that I'm biased about right now.
Fair.
otherwise,
Same.
otherwise, yeah, that's all I can really say about this category.
All right, we're moving into the big heavy hitters. We have Best Director. We got Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall. Am I saying that right?
I don't know, honestly.
So, yeah. So people are freaking out over Greta.
Are they?
We do have a woman in here. That's phenomenal. Oh, they're freaking.
Oh.
I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall. I'm very excited to see it. I want to touch on the Greta stuff real quick because I've seen a lot of people go, why are people mad? Greta is nominated. She has a nomination for writing, and she'll be there to support the movie if it wins Best Picture. I don't know if she was a producer on the film. I would guess she was. Same with Margot when we get up to Best Actress. It was a competitive year. I've seen everything on here other than Anatomy of a Fall. If you had swapped Jonathan Glazer for Greta Gerwig, I would have been okay with it. And I loved Zone of Interest. I loved the direction. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic. It was haunting. I'd be okay with it. If you swapped just about everybody in here for Greta, I would have been okay with it. I'm also okay with it that she's not here. But, and this is the big but here. I understand from the perspective of this is a movie for women, about women, a huge box office success, the highest grossing movie of the year, billion-dollar movie, and you don't put the woman behind it in Best Director. I completely get that, and I agree with you. If I was voting, she would be in my top 5, absolutely. But I'm not a voter. I do think the narrative that it is all white men holds true and doesn't hold true anymore. Where it doesn't hold true as much, and I think we have started to notice since they've added 3,000 members of different backgrounds and cultures and ethnicities, because we're up to 9 from the 6,000 just 5 years ago or whatever it was. I think we are seeing more of that play out throughout the entire Oscars. I think we have seen a lot more diversity, and I think you slowly start to see it. And it's not where it needs to be yet, but I think you are seeing a change. And I think it started in 2019 with Parasite, and I think you could start to see those effects taking place. But I think Best Director is very much probably still very white male voters. And that's the issue, because it's the directors that nominated these 5, not the entire 6 or 9,000 members of the Academy. It is the directors. And that is where I think the problem truly lies, because I think we're being unfair to the voters who are probably much more diverse in other categories. But for Best Director, I think that argument does stand. I do think Greta should be in here. I think she directed one of the best movies of the year. And I think the people that disagree, I think a lot of them who really disagree really just didn't want her in there because she is a woman and made an incredible movie about women that is phenomenal. So, and they're probably, and the voters who probably didn't vote for her, some of them are probably people who left Barbie and were like, oh, that was about me. She wrote Ken to be about me. I'm not like that. And it's like, you didn't watch the movie. Hence, you probably won't vote for it to win Best Screenplay, pal, because it's not what she pointed out. But I wanted to get that out of the way. I'm very happy for all the people who are here. I do think Greta should be in this category, though. But Christopher Nolan's going to win. Even if Greta was nominated, I think Christopher Nolan would win. And I think that is very fair and deserving, but Greta should have gotten a nod. And great on Ryan Gosling to put out a statement talking about it and supporting the ladies that helped him have, one of the best roles of his life. So anyway, Kyle, thoughts?
Ditto.
All right, moving on to Best Supporting Actress. Unless do you have any other actual thoughts?
What you said was well said. I'll just wrap it up real quick here by saying that I think it just goes to show that 2023 is a very strong year because the Best Director category became as tight of a race as it managed to. I mean, we're not even mentioning Greta Lee for if you want like another woman in this category, like Greta Lee is right there. I mean, there could be others I'm just spacing as well. A lot of movies up here, but I mean, there is absolutely an argument to be made that she could be in here, but unfortunately, it just came down to the voters' preferences and what their viewpoints are on some movies. Some of it's probably like not good ideologies, but I think the majority are looking at all of these contenders in a very stacked category and just had to take one of them out. And unfortunately, it just became Greta Gerwig.
To be fair, was Martin Scorsese born? Not to be fair, but I'm just talking out loud. Was Martin Scorsese born? I would imagine he was born in Brooklyn, right? Because he was born in Queens, New York. So he's the only one that's actually, I think, American of the best directors. Everyone else is from a different country. So we need to remember that too, that there is diversity there, which is great. But
not of color, but just of nationality.
Yeah, and that is important. I remember when the Oscars So White campaign happened, and all that is true. And then I remember watching that Oscars, and it was like the amount of diversity winning is insane. And I wish people gave a little bit more attention to those people that were winning, because I remember that year specifically, it was like every category was somebody of a different ethnicity or somebody of a different background and, from a different country, which was amazing. And we are starting to see the shift, I do believe. But all right, you ready to move on?
Best Supporting Actress, right? That's the next one.
Yep. And first we're starting with Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer. I remember saying she would be a contender, and you scoffed at me.
I did.
In a video. You scoffed as if,
I did.
How dare I suggest it, as if she gave a horrific performance. But I know exactly what Kyle's going to say. Can I guess what you'll say on why?
Yeah, by all means, go for it.
Because you think Florence Pugh should be here in that spot. Over Emily Blunt. Oh, that's what I would have guessed. All right, we'll continue because I don't want to be yelled at. Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. Who will win? I walked out of the theater And the first thing I said was, that is what a supporting best actress is supposed to do. She is the front runner. She's going to win it. I remember that was the first thing I said when I got out of that theater, because I hold true to it.
Yeah.
Yes, for Randolph, for Divine. She elevates everyone else, and she is phenomenal. She gives a great, great performance. I can't wait, because she will win. I'm 100% sure. I still haven't seen The Color Purple. I really want to. And I love Danielle Brooks from Orange is the New Black, so I'm very happy to see her in here.
Okay.
America Ferrera obviously was the kind of big shock, I think, for everybody, but I think she delivers a great performance. I think if you disagree, I think you're just getting caught up in the yucks of Barbie, but she does deliver a phenomenal performance. Is it better than some others you could put in here? That's up for debate. Same with Jodie Foster for Nyad, who's excellent, but it's still interesting. And Nyad is a great movie. Kyle's texting me. He's like, you should watch this little underrated movie. And we're sitting here talking about it.
It was underrated.
It's
like,
very underrated. It's got 2 Academy Award nominations.
Even people who like the Oscars were like, what is Nyad? And I was like, wow, no one else saw this movie but us, that's for sure. So that part cracked me up. Anyway, Alex, was that it for you? I kind of interrupted you there.
No, you're good. Thoughts.
Randolph's been the runaway so far this whole awards journey.
As
I don't see anything changing. I am eating crow with Emily Blunt. I really didn't think like she was going to get in here. That was a huge mistake on my part, because I'm looking at her in this category right now. But I am happy finally she is getting a nomination of any kind. She has been so good for so many years. She's one of those actors who you hear her name and then you see. Yeah, I mean, Sicario is a good example, but you just see their actor's name but no awards next to it, and you go, what's going on? How has this not happened yet? So even for like just a nomination stance, fantastic. The Nyad nomination for Jodie Foster did surprise me. Not as much as it did for Best Actress, which we'll get into in a minute, but it surprised me a little. It is a strong performance, but I wouldn't call that a awards worthy performance, just in my own preference. America Ferrera, I am happy for the nomination because of the casuals who I shouldn't word it like that. For the general audience to come into this movie not expecting what this movie would wind up being, and then the movie delivering on it, speaking to women in general. Like, it did a really good job at encapsulating what practically every woman probably feels about like womanhood and the state of like how womanhood gets treated growing up. And I think America Ferrera's monologue is a very strong reason for that as well. Like, I'm sure, I'm not on TikTok, but I'm sure that there's many people who, reference that monologue, have reinterpreted that monologue, do like their own, acting surrounding that monologue. So I'm sure like on a cultural scale, like people like that reason for the performance being in this category, and I do understand why. I just, again, kind of like with Jodie Foster, would not call that an Oscar-worthy performance just because of that one monologue, though it is done very well. I just think that there would have been other contenders that I think have the stronger performances in general, while hers is a moment that is very strong, but outside of that,
I disagree.
I just don't see much else with the performance.
Stop.
Really? Even outside that monologue.
When she's in the car, like I think of that scene where she's driving and she gets Barbie real quick and she's like, "Get in!" And they quickly realize in all the intensity of the scene and being chased that it's like, "Wait, I'm not here for your daughter. I'm here for you." And she's like. And like the way she was able to bring out like that childhood innocence in that little quick moment during this intense action, that is a strong performance. It is not a monologue performance. I don't think at all. I think that's extremely unfair to how strong her is. And I think you need to rewatch Barbie because you haven't seen it since July. So let's get back on the Barbie train here. Go get on it and go. I'm telling you, she does a phenomenal job of being able to be the adult in the room of that crazy story while also letting her inner child out to go along with the silliness. And it is much more than a monologue in my eyes. So, I completely disagree with you. She could be swapped out and I probably would be okay with it, but I'm very happy she's here and I don't want to diminish it because I don't think it's a monologue performance at all to me. But
Okay.
anyway,
I like that you explained that to me. Haven't seen
you're
it in
welcome.
that vein before.
The performance?
How you described it, I just didn't see the performance in that way. But yeah, thanks for
Oh,
sharing. I like that.
okay, okay. We're moving on. Best actor in a supporting role: Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. Yes, so good in American Fiction.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling for Poor Things, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. I know a lot of people wanted Willem Dafoe also for Poor Things.
Mm,
Um, I love Sterling K. Brown's performance. I probably wish I could lean him, but we all know it's going to be RDJ. He's winning every other award right now. It's going to end up, I think he's starting to run away with it. Ryan Gosling is a bit of a surprise. His performance is phenomenal. He goes
oh,
through an arc. He learns, he changes. I do think his performance is great, but would I swap him out for Willem Dafoe? Probably. Would I
wow. Okay.
swap him out for other performances? Probably, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a voting member, but I'm happy he's here. I'm very
Mm,
happy he's here. Would I swap him out to get Margot in? Yeah, and I think he would too. So,
yeah.
yeah, but I'm
Sure.
happy he's here. I'm happy he's nominated for it. It's kind of a fun thing to be nominated for. And again, it comes down to the guys who nominated him were best supporting actors who were like, his performance is just so good. I loved him in Barbie. He was so awesome in Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
And it paid off. So, thoughts, Kyle?
Four of the five were locks for me for a long time, in being Ruffalo, Gosling, Downey, and De Niro. The fifth one was always like
Yeah.
up in the air. I've heard Sterling K. Brown's name, but also Charles Melton is the obvious one. Willem Dafoe. I think this category
Yeah.
was like one of the more stacked ones this year. That's for certain.
They all are
After seeing
stacked.
American Fiction, and just seeing Sterling K. Brown every time he popped on screen, like you knew his presence was important. You knew that this character was
He
someone to
does
pay
what a
attention
supporting actor
to.
is supposed to do. Mm-hmm.
Precisely. And while I did really love Melton's performance, I could have seen Melton and Brown going either way and getting that fifth spot, and I would have been satisfied. It's always
I'd
nice to
kick
see.
out De Niro before I kick out Sterling K. Brown myself, and I loved Robert De Niro in Killers
I
of the Flower
don't.
Moon, but I would remove him
Yeah,
before Sterling.
I
He's
don't
my
blame
five.
you. I don't blame you. I think I would. I think I would do the same thing too. Mark Ruffalo. I'm just happy he got to be a silly, weird guy and just go crazy in that movie.
Great
I thought that
performance.
was
It's
pretty
funny
refreshing.
performance.
Ryan Gosling. For me, I'm happy that a strong comedic performance gets a nomination of any kind. It happens not enough times, and especially at the times we're in, to where to where comedies land more on streaming and get forgotten about and not getting like their proper due of like getting more recognition. I'm just happy to see Barbie being able to do that for a great comedic performance like Ryan Gosling's was. Um, Robert Downey Jr. is probably going to get that award.
He's definitely. But I would say with Ryan Gosling, it's not just the like yes, the comedy, and I agree with you on your comedy points, but
Mm-hmm.
the character of Ken goes through a pretty intense arc and he gets very
Yeah,
vulnerable and some of
yeah,
his humor is just so naive that he really has a nice really great arc. But all right, we're running along here. We got three
all right,
left. Let's go.
let's do it.
I am going to move to Best Actress. We've got Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, Lily Gladstone. Shout out a Montana gal. Love it.
Yeah,
I love,
it's
love, love,
awesome.
love, love. Not only obviously the representation of Native Americans and being the first ever Native woman to be nominated for Best Actress is freaking incredible and
Yeah,
is long overdue. Long overdue. But I just as a
absolutely.
Montana fan from Kalispell, love to see it. So
Mm-hmm.
Sandra Hüller, I believe is how it's pronounced, from Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. This is a stacked round.
It was a
I
stacked year.
think Annette Bening was great in Nyack. She was great. I would have put Margot Robbie in here instead.
Yeah, I would agree.
Myself. So
I would agree.
I really, really would love to see Lily Gladstone win. It would make my heart just so happy, but it's going to end up being Emma Stone, and it'll be great because it's a wonderful performance. It's a great, incredible performance by her, but Lily is also freaking phenomenal. So is Carey Mulligan. I mean, they all are. But thoughts?
Yeah, Margot Robbie not getting in here surprised me a lot.
Especially with Annette Bening.
Yeah, I really was not expecting Annette Bening to get into this category. I think if it was a weaker year, it would make a little more sense. But for how stacked it
Mm-hmm.
was, I just assumed that she would not be able to sneak in here. It could be like a legacy thing along with Jodie Foster, and that's why voters got her in. But I don't know. I don't think this is one of those to where it really works, even with that being
She's
kind of
also a
a lone
legend in the
argument.
industry. Maybe she
Yeah, I
just
know.
campaigned hard and it paid
Could be.
off.
Yeah, more than we realized. But you know what? Again, like we were saying, stat category, all these performances are phenomenal. Carey Mulligan is one of the strong reasons why I enjoyed Maestro. Sandra Hewler for Anatomy of a Fall is just so good. She's so good.
Excited
But
to
it
see it.
will. But Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone seem to be like the two fighting for that award.
I think
Again,
it's
like
going
you,
to
like
Emma. Lily's not winning much of the other
I'm kind
awards.
of I don't know. Maybe the Oscars pull a surprise and they decide to give it to Gladstone. I think that would be deserving. She's
Very
fantastic in
much
that
so.
movie.
She carries it.
We have her little bit of bias when it comes to the Montana aspect of it all, but it is a really terrific performance. Emma Stone, man, great performance. And when if she becomes like a 2-time Academy Award winner, like her career is just going to go into some next level stuff. Like it's like she will be coming into the conversation of like one of the best, but possibly. I know. I'm sounding very biased when it comes to Poor Things and her
Yeah,
performance. I
I
really
can
like
picture
it.
the scenes you're thinking of while you're talking about it.
All the no, I'm just joking.
All the monologues.
All the monologues.
I want to bring up real quick, and to be honest, I loved Margot Robbie. I would put her in here over Annette Bening. I would put in Greta Lee over Margot Robbie. Greta Lee broke my heart. I would do that for Best Actor. I think the two main people in past lives, which is what I'm talking about if you're not knowing the names here, they should have had more consideration by just talking. The whole movie is talking.
Mhm.
They just talking, and they break your heart. They make you feel so many emotions. You feel joy, happiness, everything through their performance. That movie is completely funneled through performances, and for neither of them to get a nod is absurd to me. It's my favorite movie of last year.
Yeah.
Blew me away how much I love that movie. And I love Margot. I wish she was in here too so much, but I also think Greta Lee rightfully should have been in here, and people need to be more upset about that as well.
No, I echo your thoughts exactly. I'm also just now realizing with our director conversation, I may have said her name instead of Celine Son's name. Apologies about that. Did I not? Okay,
No, you did. You said Greta Lee. No, you did.
I did.
I just didn't correct you.
I like to apologize about that. Not what I meant. I'm just rattling through names quickly here.
It happens.
Yeah. So anyway,
I actually really didn't correct you because I thought I was wrong. I was like, Greta Lee directed that? I didn't. I thought it was somebody else. Dang. I was like, happening? I'm really an idiot. Wow. Got to pay more attention. But
no, I miss sometimes, Al.
Apparently, I haven't seen one documentary. You ready to move on, or any other?
Yeah,
thoughts?
let's do it. Nope, let's keep going.
Best actor: Bradley Cooper, Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. It is Cillian. Don't get into a fight with me here. This, I love the representation of color here with Jeffrey Wright and Coleman Domingo. They're phenomenal. Yeah. I've seen Rustin. It is a very good movie that is completely held on him. He carries everything. And we talk about that with Cillian Murphy too, but no one else from Rustin has been nominated in Best Supporting and things like that. It is all him. It's nice seeing LGBTQ representation in this category, which I don't know if we have seen necessarily in Best Actor, and we might have, probably have, and didn't know we had. But
possibly.
I love seeing that. It's probably going to be Cillian Murphy, but Paul Giamatti with that eye came in and started throwing some haymakers. He was like, "Give me this award. I'm from Big Fat Liar, baby." And he's won some awards. This is a little bit more competitive than people thought. I still think it will lean Cillian, which is going to be amazing. And I have finally decided to put on my list Peaky Blinders because of and I've always loved Cillian Murphy from 28 Days Later to even, The Quiet Place 2. He's always been so phenomenal. And I
Yeah.
finally just want to sit down and see a show just completely ran by him that I know people are just obsessed over. It's supposed to be so good. So, yeah, but I'm happy here. It's no Leo.
No Leo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Or my guy from past lives whose name has been escaping
TOU.
me. TOU, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
yo. Sorry if we butchered it. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah. True. Um. Yeah. Leo was a little surprising. Although looking back on it, I'm not sure if people. I guess people more were talking about Lily Gladstone than they were of Leo, and that ended up like being part of the reason why he doesn't get a
I got
nomination
out of the
within here.
movie. I got out of that movie and was like, did Lily Gladstone just overshadow Leonardo DiCaprio? Like,
Tough to do. Yeah.
that's incredible, especially when I've never seen her perform before. That's the first time I've seen her perform, but go ahead.
True. No, I echo you with Jeffrey Wright and Coleman Domingo. For me, they're like in the character actor tier, I suppose, if you want to think of it that way. But they've just been working so long in this industry. It's nice for them to get recognition such as this. I suppose also Paul Giamatti could be. Sorry, what was that?
I was just saying, like, showing everybody, hey, we're not character actors. We are household. We're gonna work our way to being household names here. But I agree a little bit with Giamatti. I think he is. I don't know if I think when you say Paul Giamatti, I think most people know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you might be right about that. But yeah, I mean, but with him, he has had such a history in this industry, and he has worked for so many years that I do think that is part of the reason why he's making a close race with Cillian Murphy. On top of the performance being strong, of course. Absolutely. So I would echo you that right now it's between those two. So
it's Cillian Murphy.
Sorry, I keep saying Cillian, don't I? Ugh, I don't know why.
Pretty sure we've gotten in a debate about it before.
That sounds right.
I think we.
I'm sure we did with Oppenheimer. I'm sure with the Oppenheimer review we did that. That sounds right.
Trust me.
Okay.
It's Cillian.
Okay.
Best Picture. A lot of people didn't like when they moved from 5 to maybe 10, and they used to do like maybe we'll do 7, maybe we'll pick 8.
Yeah.
But then they were like, no, we'll do 10.
Strong 10.
It's American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. I love all these movies being in here. I wish Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is in here. I wish Boy and the Heron gets a Best Picture nomination myself. I know there's another movie that I am thinking of that I wish was really here, and it's not, and I don't know why I can't think of it. But I love that these movies are here. I think Oppenheimer is going to win, but this could be a year where Oppenheimer just sweeps. Nolan's winning, director, everybody's happy, and then all of a sudden they're like, and it's Poor Things or, Past Lives or something like that. So
yeah.
This is a little bit more of an open race, I think, right now compared to just about everything else, but I do think it's leaning towards Oppenheimer myself.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of proud of myself with this year's crop of Best Picture nominees because normally in the past years we've seen like 5 of them and then we don't see the other 5. You know what I mean? But we're always at that time of the year where we haven't been able to see all of these movies, and this is one of the years where one I haven't seen.
You're only missing one, and I'm only missing one.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel pretty good about us right now.
And I'll tell you right now, Kyle will die on the hill that Anatomy of a Fall is a better movie than The Zone of Interest because he saw it before me, and I'm going to die on the hill that The Zone of Interest is a better movie than Anatomy of a Fall because we are petty little turds. That's exactly what's going to happen.
You're not wrong.
It's going to happen. You suck. Anyway. I hope Past Lives wins this. I would be very happy for Past Lives, Barbie, Oppenheimer. Those are the 3 I really do hope win. One of those 3. Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah. I just like the mixture of not genres but mixture of tones. Like there's some that are like the drama, but also there's like Barbie that's a mixture of comedy and drama. American Fiction, feel good, but also has like tug of your heartstring moments. Holdovers does that same thing. Like it's not. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like it's alienating audiences who want to enjoy like awards such as these, but they don't see these movies because they're not up their they're not their cup of tea. I just think these movies are strong in that they are great movies, but also they're a lot more inviting to like everyone, which is what we want out of this. Like, yeah, it's fun to debate like who should get in, who shouldn't get in, but the point is that there's possibly movies that we have or have not seen, and we can give recommendations for this. So, I think when it comes to this, I'm just happy with the Best Picture category being all of these contenders that are just a little bit of something for everyone, minus Maestro, which shouldn't be in here. Anyway, that's about my thoughts.
You're right. It should have been Saltburn. I could not agree with you more. All right, guys, that's the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Meal patrons. Go get some merch. Help us get to that 2,000. Comment below. Let us know. Like, subscribe, share. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.